It's been about 3 hours since I woke up and I am ready. I like to get ready pretty much as soon as I get up. I like to have a bath, needed to shave my legs. That was a priority over everything. But I wanted to get ready and just be ready just in case anyone else wakes up. Let me turn some lights on here, it's very dark. That's a bit better. But yeah, I like to get ready just in case anyone else wakes up, makes plans, because LA is one of those, which is where I am right now, by the way. LA is one of those where if you want to go into central LA from where we stay, it's not best to do it on your own because it is about an hour, whether that's by car, public transport, and obviously for safety reasons, you're better off going as a group. It's one of those places where I'd love to be able to just go out and do stuff on my own. I like my own company, as well as I do love being with other crew as well. I do love that side of my job, but it's also quite nice to have the choice to do stuff on your own. But LA is just not one of those, which I'm not really mad about, but I am kind of intrigued to go back into central LA, which I have done before. I've done all the sites, most of the sites anyway, but other people are suggesting maybe going for a little walk around West Hollywood, that kind of thing. And while you're in LA, why not? It is finally starting to get light outside. I have been up since about 3 a.m. and there is a reason as to why I got up that early. That's like a record time I think I've ever woken up while coming this far west. So the reason I woke up that early is because I went to sleep so early. I was asleep, I think off the top of my head, it would have been about 6:30, maybe 6 o'clock. I didn't really pay attention to the time because the moment I finished my sushi last night, I got into bed in my pajamas. I was out like an absolute light. It was ridiculous. So basically, I was actually operating the earliest LA flight that we do. We left in the morning and I think I ended up waking up for my report time about 4 a.m. So by the time I got ready, got to the airport, checked in, met my crew, got to the plane, took off, it was still the morning. So it was a really, really early start of a day. And then by the time we got here and by the time I got into bed, so I got into bed at 6 p.m, that's 2 a.m. at home. So basically I was awake for almost 24 hours straight. It was tough, and the flight was really, really tough as well. We were completely full, and with it being school holidays as well, that adds to the mix. School holidays in general is just a really hard time because it's just a lot busier than normal. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that who work in retail and many other sectors like that. But yeah, it was just a really, really tough flight, really busy, constantly on the go. And by the time I sat in my jump seat ready to land, I literally felt like a zombie. Literally. So I just couldn't wait to get to the hotel. And then last night I had a quick stop at the supermarket around the corner. I got some breakfast for this morning. I wanted to be prepared. Also got some for tomorrow as well. Got some fruit, got some crisps, got some sushi because I was starving. I should have really eaten on the plane before we left, but none of the food was taking my fancy. So just had my heart set on sushi as soon as I got to the hotel. So I got that sorted, and yeah, that was pretty much my evening last night. I'm heading downstairs right now to meet my crew. We're gonna go for some breakfast, and then I think we're gonna get some public transport into Hollywood, which is definitely my cup of tea.
Today's breakfast choice is honey Cheerios.
Normally I like to make sure I say goodnight to you guys and kind of give you a rundown of my day, if I found out any useful tips of the day that I've had that you guys might find useful if you're traveling or if you're crew and we go to these places. I couldn't, honestly. I got into bed, I don't even think I lasted 2 minutes, which it wasn't a shock really. So basically yesterday was a very spontaneous day. So we wanted to go to LA. All of us had been, there was 3 of us that went. All of us had been before, but it'd been a little while since we've actually been into central LA. I've done LAs in the past where I've come to where we stay in LA, but we stay so far out, it's really quite hard to get into central LA without planning it. So I've come here before, not really bothered about it, and then just stayed in the local area. So we had a little look on some tips on how to get into central LA for a decent price, what to do. And we found out that you can actually get into central LA from where we are and pay a day pass for the bus and the trains for $5, which honestly is so good, considering that's a day pass and you can get yourself around the whole of LA for that price pretty much. Obviously not up into the hills and things like that, but within downtown LA, Santa Monica, all those main places on the ground rather than in the hills, you can all do that for £5, so that or $5, so that's really, really good. So that's what we did, and we took the tram to downtown LA, and then we got the bus from downtown LA to Beverly Hills, where we did all of our bits around Beverly Hills. I hadn't actually been up to the sign before of Beverly Hills, so we did that. We then went to the Beverly Hills Hotel, which you know I've done before, but I really liked it last time and I was more than happy to go again. And we went to the same outdoor cafe, the Cabana Cafe that I went to last time, where I had my crazy expensive avocado on toast. If you have been around that long, you'll know about all of that. But that was a once in a lifetime experience. So I didn't do that again, but we stayed for a drink, and we basically had 2 other crew friends that were also going into LA, but they were hiring a car a bit later in the day, but we wanted to go earlier. But our days ended up corresponding quite well, so we were actually at the hotel when they were, so we had a drink with them. The guy at the bar actually gave our cokes for free, which was so nice of him, but we were dire need of a drink, and for some reason we couldn't locate a CVS or a 7-Eleven, something like that, within the vicinity of where we were. Every time you seem to look for something like that, you can never find it, but when you don't want it, they are all over the place. So yeah, went to have a drink there, that was lovely. And then we went down to Santa Monica. I have been to Santa Monica before, but we weren't there for long, so we spent a bit longer there this time, had some fries. We then had a little walk around the pier. We then walked down to Venice Beach, spent a bit of time there, had some more food there and another Coke as well in a really nice bar called Bell's, and saw all of just the main sites that you always see. So like Muscle Beach, we saw the long squiggly path that you see people always running down and cycling down. It was just nice to see those kind of parts of LA. Also, those of you that do play GTA as well, when you come to LA, it's quite a fan moment because you're like, oh, I did this there, or I did that heist there, or I jumped off the pier there. It's quite funny to see, and they've really made it a real good representation of Los Angeles in Los Santos, but obviously a lot smaller. So when I actually first came to LA, I expected it to be like that, which is so silly of me, and it's definitely not. It's humongous. It takes so long to get anywhere. So if you are coming to LA and you want to do the public transport like we did, just be prepared. It takes a long time to get from one place to another. So plan it well if you want to see a lot of sights along the way. And you can also pay to do the Hollywood tours as well. We did also walk through a bit of the Beverly Hills neighborhood and looked at some of the houses, and the Hollywood tour coaches were stopping every now and again and pointing at certain houses, and we were like, I wonder who lives there, because they're obviously talking about someone famous or someone well known that lives there, so it's quite interesting. So if you like that kind of thing, that's another thing to do, but that is something I would like to do in the future. That's the perk about LA. You can do these things, but you can always go back and do them, and it never really gets boring. There was one final plan that we were going to make, and that was to go to the Hollywood sign after we went to
Venice Beach because it was still quite light outside, but it took a little while to pay our bill. For some reason, it was just taking time and the place was getting quite busy. So we had to wait a little while. So by the time we actually got to the car, it was going to be too dark by the time we got there. And once again, it was going to take about an hour to drive from Venice Beach to the sign. So it didn't really seem worth it, which was a shame because I do like seeing the sign. I've only seen it from the Griffith Observatory, which is a nice spot to see it from. But at the same time, it was quite far away. So it would have been nice to see it a bit more up close. But that's something I can do for next time. And a little sneak peek into my next roster, which I did actually receive last night. I may or may not be coming back to LA, but not as you think. I'll let you sit with that one.
I get it, they've got to clean other rooms in between stays, but vacuuming at 9:30 in the morning, it's a good thing I'm not trying to nap before my flight. This is absolutely the bit of my trips that I hate doing the most, and that's ironing. I really try and buy clothes that I can avoid ironing, and I tell Vic to do exactly the same because I cannot stand the chore. I just don't know, I hate doing it, and I don't know why I don't just get and do it as soon as I get into the hotel room. Like, why do I have to wait until last minute? I'm in the middle of getting ready, and I've just heard something very suspicious. Yes, thought so. Okay, so it delayed almost an hour. Kind of annoying because I'm midway through getting ready, but to be fair, I may as well just finish off getting ready and just chill for a bit.
So this has just happened. Absolutely hilarious. It's massive. Don't even know how it happened. Didn't even hear it rip. But I'm going to try and make these survive the flight. I don't know if I'll quite be successful in that.